I hope I'm not botching this up too much. But if those were the four apocalyptic horsemen that Zechariah prophesied of and prophesied Revelation 6, then the seals were opened on that day. So the white horse has a crown and a bow and goes out with the purpose of conquering. The red horse goes out with a sword for the purpose of war and to remove peace from the earth. The rider on the black horse went with a pair of scales in his hand for the purpose of economic crisis. And the rider on the sickly colored horse was Death, who went to 1/4 of the land area of the earth to bring death by sword, hunger, and beasts of the earth. Disease carried by animals and stuff. So if you look at it this way, on September 11, 2001 was the start of World War III. But in order not to scare the masses, it was called by George Bush at the time Global War on Terror instead of World War on Terror. By changing the World War into a global war, it didn't sound as menacing. But it was the goal of Osama bin Laden and Islamic terrorist organizations, which, of course, I believe there were some not good people behind that as well. I do believe there was a conspiracy to promote jihad and the Islamic terrorists. They started a war out that day against the nations of the world. And almost every single day since September 11, there has been a terrorist attack somewhere in the world, whether a suicide bombing, knife attack, shooting, car attack, etc. So this World War on Terror that America entered on September 11th, 2001 is the longest war America has ever fought, and it is still not over even to this day. So the other part of World War III is gone in the shadows. The World War on Terror has given the perfect opportunity for nations and governments to fight against each other without direct conflict. So that I can discuss in each of the horses, each of the seals. They all tie together as the spirits ride out, opening the four seals in Revelation, and the same four spirits that rode out that day with the man-made mountains of bronze. They all are means of warfare, and which have been used throughout history, and they are all working in different parts. Each of these horses, each of these seals that the Lord opened is working in parts of the world to accomplish his task, what the Lord's task is. So you can see that if you look at it this way, it's later than we think, and some of us are waiting for those four apocalyptic horsemen to come and those four seals when we've already been in this for 17 years. We've already been in this for 17 years. Now, I feel this. This resonates with my spirit. The world's never been the same since then. It's moved around. The war has moved around from place to place, but it's always the same. We're fighting the same terrorists. We're fighting the same principality. So now I see behind the scenes, and that's what my gift is, and oftentimes a forerunner. So like I said before in our one-on-one talks, there's only one battle going on, God versus Satan. There's only one battle between people. It's the people of Israel and the Christians against those that are not going to be Christians or of Israel. And the spiritual forces behind those are satanic, that behind the war. So Satan's spirit wants to kill the people of God, the people of Israel, and those that have been grafted in. That's basically the war. So Satan's demons and his spirits, they move around. They were in Hitler, right? They were in Hitler, and everyone who was with Hitler were being moved by those dark forces. So those forces are still around. They're the same demons that were around when Jesus came, that wanted to kill him, and he cast out. So those demons, those principalities, they're the same principalities that Daniel fought against with when he was fighting the Prince of Persia, when he was needing the help from the archangel, and he said, "I'm sorry, I'm late. I was fighting the Prince of Persia." Like, these spiritual forces are all waging war against each other, and then they cause men, real men, like, so the principalities of Satan were inhabiting Hitler to kill the Jews. And these principalities had to go somewhere. So they had to go, of course, I believe they're in the radical extremists of Islam, but they're also with those that are siding with them, who the Lord knows who they are, and also other countries that will band together to form this beast. So I'm going to break up the horses because it's a lot to cover in one setting. But if you could open your mind that 4 seals may have already happened, that will really help you to get in the mindset that we might be closer than we think, which is awesome. I can't wait. I just don't want to go through the hard stuff, but I love to know and pay attention. It makes me feel really, really happy that the Lord would give me the inside information so I could be prepared. So I hope it blesses you too. And I'll sign off and we'll go for the next one. Okay. First horse of the apocalypse that I believe was already released in 2001 at 9/11. And this is the reasoning behind it. I'll be reading to you some of a prophetic countdown from Calculating the Last 7 that you can download and find on my link below. So if that's true, and the first seal was broken with the white horse, the rider on the white horse has a bow and a crown, and he rides to the land of the north to conquer and overcome. That's what it says in Revelation 6. The rider on the white horse is political warfare, and this is all about overcoming the political realm with government of nation itself, which can be fought through mobs. Think of mob rule, or peaceful protests, or attempting to influence people and meddle in elections with internet and stuff like that. So there's a lot of great information in this download. I encourage you to get it. But it makes a lot of sense. So nothing's felt very peaceful since 9/11. The thought that we're already in World War III makes a lot of sense to me, because it does seem like it's not been peaceful, and it's scary, and there's little wars and stuff going on everywhere. So the day that white horse rode out on September 11th, 2001, for the political warfare was only the beginning of the fulfillment of the opening of the first seal. So I believe that too. It's been going on. It has continued every day from that day to this, and will culminate in the rise of the anti-Messiah, the little horn, who will also take power, according to Daniel 11, through political warfare and through flatteries and deceit. And he will take over the government of a small nation, from which he will begin his rule. But this rider goes out to the north of the land of Israel, concentrating the efforts of political warfare in the continents of Europe, Asia, and North America, but primarily centered in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. So that makes a lot of sense to me. And if you follow the news and follow the web, also the free news, then you can know that there's these things have been happening. So the second Now the little horn, okay, it's going to continue every day until it culminates with the anti-Messiah, the little horn. So remember, I had the vision of the beast of the sea coming out of the sea to New York City, and at that time, the little horn, I believe, was Iran, and speaking blasphemies against Israel at the United Nations in 2006. So it may not be Iran, but it's a picture of it. If it's that little horn is definitely going to want to annihilate Israel. That's going to be their main agenda, just like Hitler. So the second horse, the red horse, in the seals of the apocalypse, the second seal, the red horse with the great sword rides out to and fro from across the earth, removing peace. The rider on the red horse is a traditional military warfare and fought with traditional forms of war like terrorist attacks and things like that. So the spirit goes across the earth removing peace. So all of us know that since 9/11, we're always like on edge, right? There could be a bombing at the Boston Marathon. There could be the bombing in Paris. There's suicide bombs all the time going off in Israel. So it's been kind of all over the place. So this war has been going on all over the place since 9/11, and it hasn't stopped. So nations have been, rallying and proxying themselves with other nations. Lots more information in the download. So this conflict has been going on, and that makes so much sense to me. I mean, the warfare has been going on. Like, we really are in a war. It's just been fought over here, and now it's over here, and now it's in Syria, and now it's in Iraq, now it's in Afghanistan, but we're fighting the same war. So, anyway, so every single day from September 11th to this day has been a constant war being fought somewhere on the planet. But this World War III fight has only been setting the stage for when the anti-Messiah will ultimately come on the scene after raging political war and begin the military part of his conquest to take over the world as God. It is simply getting everything in place for the military warfare part of the anti-Messiah strategy as recorded in Daniel 7 and 11. From the day of September 11th to this day, every single day has been a fulfillment of the second seal, and it will continue to be fulfilled until the rising of the anti-Messiah and the end of the anti-Messiah has come. So in a way, that's kind of good. It's giving us a picture, more of a picture of the anti-Messiah. Terror and bombing, and we have to always be scared and paying attention, and always, of course, against Israel. Like, poor Israel, every other day, we're gonna nuke you, and God has His plan. He's got His plan, and you got to understand Israel, or you're not going to understand what's going on in the last days. God still has a literal plan for the people, and He chose them. So the rider on the black horse is the third seal, and that we believe also came on 9/11. And that was to bring economic instability and financial collapse. So the rider on the black horse is economic warfare. So there's nothing new about this. That the rider went out specifically in the north. So in the northern hemisphere, so Russia, China, Europe, Turkey, America have all played roles in this and felt the effects of it. All this economic warfare since September 11th has been setting the stage for the anti-Messiah's own economic war that he will wage in Revelation 13. The economic war the anti-Messiah will wage will be more ingenious than anything before. He will wage war against and collapse the global economic system and then put in place a new economic system a system which he promises will never collapse again. And you can see the war. I mean, trying to strengthen our own economies. There's all the sanctions and all this stuff. There's a lot of stuff I didn't understand. But when the Antichrist comes, he will want to put this system in place, and it will appear to be a stronger system, and a system which he will implement across his empire in complete control by requiring that everyone who uses the economy of the empire to take the mark and give their allegiance to himself as God. From September 11 to this day, the third seal has continued to be fulfilled and will continue to be fulfilled every day until the anti-Messiah comes. So we are not going to take that mark of the beast in the forehead or the arm. So to be prepared, we want to start to understand how we're going to live during those 3.5 years. And I'll do a talk on that about the woman that's taken into the wilderness. But just to kind of get your mind open, think of the gold and silver is the Lord's. The Lord says that the gold is mine and the silver is mine. So there could be a returning to the gold standard. There also is the goods are always good. Like whenever, if you research anything on the Depression or anything, there's goods that can always be bartered. So that's a thing. You can also think about being sustainable, about growing your own food. And it seems overwhelming, especially if you're totally living on the world system. So get your mind started to go there. Start to gear your mind towards that. I myself am being led to build a greenhouse, and I don't even know where I'm going to build it yet. So stuff like that. Because it'll be very deceptive, even to fool the elect, the Bible says. So, you know, this anti-Messiah is very charismatic and you know, well, we should just do it. Well, we shouldn't do it. So, more on that. Okay, so the fourth rider came out on the speckled horse, the sickly speckled horse with the word Hades and death, the fourth seal, out to the south of the earth to bring death by sword, famine, natural deaths, and wild beasts, possibly bringing disease. So since September 11th, if we look at most of the famines on the earth, they've been centered in south of Israel, in Africa and Yemen. And in David Wilkerson's vision in 1973, he saw all of the famine in the world centered in Africa and southern Asia in the south. Iran also is experiencing a partial famine today. So there's been climate conditions for this. There's also been economic reasons. Animals have been sick, so there's been the Ebola, Zika, HIV, and AIDS. But this famine is limited to a fourth of the earth, so there can't be more than a fourth, and that is different from later on when a third of the earth is destroyed with the, you know, the last seals and the nuclear war and stuff like that. So that makes sense to me that this horse already went out. There's a publication by David Wilkerson called The Vision and Beyond, and you can find that in this download. So the first 4 seals on the scroll are simply setting the stage and creating the condition for the world to be taken over by the anti-Messiah, which is God's will. He wrote this, and it's his will. This isn't like this guy is not in control, this beast system. God is in control, and he's setting it all up for his purposes and his judgments and his ultimate taking back of the earth. So They are the way the world is fought. These have been going on. At the same time, I believe the fifth seal has been opened as well, and that I will talk to in another one. But these seals having been opened makes sense to me that we all have been in a war. We have been in a World War III for the last 17 years. And it will be at this point that the world is ready to listen to an anti-Messiah with great words telling them that we don't need a Messiah. A man can save himself. So whatever the beast system, of course, we know is going to create, well, we have to have this sixth seal open because the big war, we got to have the big war before the anti-Messiah makes peace so that people are actually listening to him. But basically, it'll be setting up the system that we don't need the Lord. So everyone who needs the Lord, they're going to be ridiculed and persecuted and beheaded and all that stuff because, but I'm professing the Lord Jesus Christ, and I will always profess him. He saved my life. He saved my life. He literally sucked demonic creatures off of my body when I had severe eating disorders and depression. And he gave me joy in my heart. He gave me peace, and he gave me joy in my heart. So with my last breath, I will profess Jesus, the Messiah of Israel, the Mashiach, the one who Israel is waiting for. And he will give me the strength. And he will give you the strength. We will be strengthened. I believe he is strengthening the covenant with us already since September 23rd, 2017. And he's sealing us, sealing the bride. So be encouraged. When you're weak, he is strong. And thank you for listening about these. Please download the PDF. It's so much great information and so many great links to other amazing prophetic people. It's amazing to me that God uses us, just these little people, and some more than others. But it is his body. The body of the Lord is really here. He's really here. And it's an invisible structure. We're an invisible house of his, and it's super exciting. So until next time, read the word.